Hey, people from all across the world. My name is Keiko. You may know me as Keiko Reads Fanfiction. And today I am bringing the beginning of Chapter 2 called A New Family for Leave Your Mark, BNHA X listener, or reader, however you want to say it. But yeah, I don't have much to say except let's get into it.
Kai, do you want to eat lunch together?
It comes as no surprise, but Chisaki responds by scrunching up his nose. Go away, he sighs. I don't have time for stupid little kids. He barely even spares you a glance before burying his nose in the book he's been reading. You come to discover that he is 9 years old, 7 years older than you, but that being said, he's still a kid himself. You find it funny that he's acting as if he's a grown adult when in fact you've lived longer than he has. But for all his hasty reprimands and how eager he is to get rid of you, still you remain undeterred. You've decided that you want to change his life for the better, to ensure that he won't become a villain and go on to hurt countless people, including a helpless little girl. So you plop down next to him, still smiling brightly, then unwrap the sandwich one of the caregivers handed you earlier. Admittedly, it doesn't smell great, and it's warm for some reason, but considering how much of a dump this place is, you know it's the best you're going to get. You bite into your sandwich and make a face.
This tastes a little funny.
Stupid kid, Chizuki mutters, shuffling away from you. The meat is probably on the verge of spoiling. You're going to get sick, and then you're going to get me sick. Ugh. There's not really much you can do about your limited dining options here, and you just hope that you won't end up with food poisoning.
The Beginner's Guide to Human Anatomy.
You mumble, reciting the title of the book Chizuki has in hand. It seems to catch his attention, and he stops reading to peer over at you with arched brows. You know how to read? He blinks. But you're only 2. Oh, right. You're supposed to be a toddler. Up until now, everyone at the orphanage just assumed you were flipping through books for the hell of it, but you've nearly just given yourself away.
I'm smart for my age,
you decide upon, making sure not to oversell it.
Does that book have nice pictures to look at?
Chisaki shrugs. I guess. Mostly just diagrams and stuff. Nothing a little brat like you would understand. He's challenging you, or at the very least mocking you. And even though you shouldn't let his words get under your skin, you suddenly feel the need to prove yourself.
I bet I'll be able to understand,
you insist, then snatch the book right out of his fingers. Give it back, he grimaces. You're so annoying. This is why I hate kids. Once again, he's also a kid. Although you certainly wouldn't know it at first glance, based on his pretentious attitude and the complicated books he's already reading. You trace your finger over one of the pages.
The aorta is the largest artery of the body, and it carries blood from the heart to the rest of the circulatory system. Blood first leaves the aortic valve, then it travels through the aorta, allowing other major arteries to deliver oxygen-rich blood to the brain, muscles, and various other cells.
By the time you're finished, Chisaki's jaw is hanging open. Crap. You probably could have afforded to hold back a bit.
Told you I'm smart for my age,
you say, then gently place the book back in his hands. Well, it must come as a shock to him since you appear as a toddler, but you're actually a teenager mentally speaking. Being able to read is hardly that impressive. What's actually impressive is that he's reading complicated stuff like this despite only being 9 years old. But you decide to save your little victory nonetheless. Huh? Is all Chisaki can think to respond. He studies you for a few moments, lips coming together in a thin line. It's clear that he doesn't quite know what to make of you, but perhaps that's for the better. It means that he'll develop an interest in you and want to keep you close. Right? Hardly 5 seconds later, he shoos you away. Leave, he demands. Your sandwich stinks. Stop hanging near me. It seems like you've got your work cut out for you, and there really must have been something wrong with that sandwich because later that same day you end up vomiting onto the carpet. Chisuke makes no attempt to hide his disgust. You're not exactly sure how much time has passed since you first met Chisuke, but progress is slow. And when you say slow, you mean horribly and inconceivably slow. You knew as much while following the plot of My Hero Academia, but damn, Chisuke really isn't fond of other people. Go away, he sneers. You're annoying and dirty, he remarks on another occasion. Sometimes, if you're lucky, he'll spend more than 5 seconds talking to you, but it's usually only when he's stringing together a more complicated insult. I want you to leave me alone, and if you don't leave me alone, I'm gonna tie you to a tree outside and leave you there. Since he's only 9 years old and has yet to hurt a soul, you aren't terribly intimidated. Plus, there are way too many eyewitnesses at the orphanage for him to get away with such a thing. You brush off. You wouldn't do that to me. He does, in fact, tie you to a tree, and on more than one occasion. Oh well, you assumed going into this that it wouldn't be an easy endeavor. Chisuke clearly hasn't understood that, like it or not, you're here to stay. It's a day like any other, and you're in the midst of recovering from yet another spoiled food-induced tummy ache, when out of nowhere, Chisuke decides to walk out of the orphanage. Sometimes kids play outside. That is, after all, where he did tie you to all of those trees. But Chisuke isn't one for playing games to begin with, and today he seems to have made up his mind about something. He leaves the orphanage without looking back. Naturally, you follow him as fast as your tiny legs will allow you to. It will take a while for the caregivers to realize you've both gone missing. Negligent supervision seems to be the reoccurring trend around here. Really, it's a miracle that the rest of the kids are even still alive.
Where are you going?
You ask, stumbling to keep up with him. God damn it, this tiny body of yours is so frustrating. You're used to being in full control of your limbs and being able to walk faster than what feels like a solid 10 meters per hour. Chisuke doesn't so much as glance at you. That place is filthy, he mutters. I couldn't stand it anymore. Not that it matters anyways. Everywhere is the same. Wherever I go, people will just keep disappointing me. You realize that you don't know much about Chisuke's backstory. All you know is that at some point in his childhood, he was taken in by a kind-hearted Yakuza man. But apart from that, the details are left rather vague. Where are his parents? How long ago did they abandon him? Just how many years has he spent on his own, without knowing what it feels like to be loved or cared for? He probably won't tell you even if you ask, but your heart aches for him regardless.
It's going to be okay,
you tell him. Perhaps it sounds like you're just talking out of your ass, and you doubt it helps to reassure him much, but he spares a glance at you anyway. He presses his lips together. You're just a little kid. Go back to that stinky place. It's better than sticking with me. I can't take care of you.
We can take care of each other,
you offer. Chisuke shakes his head in dismay, but surprisingly, he's not telling you to leave, so you muster up a smile and follow him. Follow him where exactly? You have no clue, but you've already made up your mind to stay with him no matter what happens. And then, for the first time, you find yourself intertwined with the story's plot. What are you children doing all the way out here? The voice catches you off guard, but then you tilt your head up to get a better look at who just spoke. Your eyes go wider than ever. Ah, you know him? Of course you do. After all, he's largely the reason that Chisuke goes on to commit so many crimes. It's not just his hatred of quirks and rejection of the so-called hero syndrome, but also because he feels as though he needs to repay the man who took him in and bring the Yakuza back to their former glory. This man is Chisuke's adoptive father and the boss of the Shei Hasaikai, who is affectionately referred to as Pops. Droplets of rain fall upon your cherubic cheeks and roll down your skin. The sky has been looking rather gray and murky for a while, so you're not surprised that it's steadily turning into a downpour. Pop stares at the both of you and frowns. It isn't safe to be out here all alone. Where are your parents? Did you get separated from them?
We don't have parents, you blurt out. We don't have anyone.
Instead of responding, Chisuke just nods his head somberly. He's not a talkative sort to begin with, but right now it looks like he's lost for words. You doubt he's expecting anything. He clearly hasn't led a particularly happy life until now, and it shows. But when Pops pulls out his umbrella and uses it to shelter both of you from the rain, Chisuke's golden eyes widen ever so slightly. I see. Pops hums. He pauses, a slow, gentle smile stretching across his lips. And what are your names, if you don't mind me asking? You respond without wasting a beat.
I'm Lion, and this is my friend.
I'm not your friend. Chisuke lets out a weary sigh, but when he peers up at Pops, he suddenly looks sheepish, as if he can tell that he's a man worth respecting. I'm Chisuke Kai. Pop seemed amused, and despite the rain soaking into his kimono, he holds the umbrella in place so that neither of you will get wet. Well then, he says, if you've got nowhere to go, then how about coming with me? It's happening. The moment you watched unfold in the anime is actually happening right before your very eyes. The only difference is that this time Chisuke isn't alone. You will be with him every step of the way to guide him towards a brighter future. Okay, Chisuke says. His voice is hesitant, definitely more uncertain than you're used to it being, but you can tell that right here and now, he's decided to give Pops a chance. He will be grateful towards this man for the rest of his life. That much you know for a fact. And that was the end of not the end of chapter 2. It was the end of part 1 for chapter 2. I'm gonna put these chapters into 2 parts because of how long they are. If I read the whole chapters in the whole setting, then these videos would be 10 times longer, and I don't feel like that, and I don't have enough storage for that also. So with that being said, I hope we enjoyed part 1 of chapter 2 for Leave Your Mark BNHA X Reader / listener. And sorry it is so late that I'm uploading this, guys, because I know I uploaded posting schedule yesterday, but I also did mention the fact that there was an issue going on with AO3, and I specifically read on AO3 because I unfortunately do not have Wattpad, and yeah, exclusively read on AO3, guys, so just keep that in mind. But yeah, I hope we all enjoyed that. So again, sorry that this that this was a really late post, because not a really late post, but you know what I mean. Anyway, again, I hope we all enjoyed, and stay tuned for chapter 2. Stay tuned for part 2 of chapter 2. I hope you all have an amazing rest of your day, night, whatever, blah 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 blah. And yeah, stay strong, and I love you all. Goodbye, people across the world. I love you.